Irmgard Ilse Ida Grese was born October 7, 1923, in a small village of Vreken. In 1932, when Irma was just 9 years old, Bertha, Irma's mother, found out about the extramarital affairs of her husband and decided to take her own life, as she couldn't handle the news, leaving Alfred to single-handedly raise the kids all by himself. Alfred Grese was described as a conservative farmer, a regular church-going Christian, and very stern and strict with his children. He hated the Nazi regime with every fiber of his being, and going physical with his kids was not uncommon at the mention of anything relating to Hitler or his ideology. When Irma tried joining the Bund Deutscher Mädel, a league of German girls, he absolutely forbade her. But little did he know that Irma's total disregard for her father's opinion was growing right under his nose. In 1933, the same year that Adolf Hitler and the Nazis came to power in Germany, 10-year-old Irma began a Nazi indoctrination. Irma's sister, Ellen, testified that Irma would always run away from fights, always felt incapable, and never participated in any form of confrontation during her elementary school years. Those who examined her believed she suppressed her inner rage to later release it in her role as a powerful female guard in the camps. Now trying to make a meaning with her life, Irma tried becoming a nurse, but her performance was too low and was eventually told by a senior staff to go use her talent somewhere else, suggesting to her that she should contact a friend at Ravensbrück, the same infamous female concentration camp not far from her place of birth. Irma did exactly as told and arrived in Ravensbrück in 1941. Becoming an Aufscherin offered Irma a new future. Now 19, Irma Grese was ready to enter the next camp in a career of brutality and received orders transferring her to Auschwitz-Birkenau. Prior to her transfer, she visited her father while wearing a full SS uniform. Because of his hatred for all things associated with the Nazis, she knew this would provoke him profoundly, but apparently did not care. During her visit, her father questioned her about her duties at Ravensbrück. They quarreled intensively about her career in the SS and was sent out of the house by her father. In May 1944, Grese was promoted to Oberhauptscherin and is remembered by many survivors as wearing heavy boots and carrying a whip and pistol. Irma would use her whip and pistol to punish inmates for the slightest infractions of camp rules and was fond of lashing well-endowed women across the breast with her whip. Many of the women developed infections in their breasts from injury caused by the braided wire end of her cellophane whip. By various recollections of survivors, she is said to have killed at least 30 people per day. Grese's tenure at the camp finally came to an end in January 1945 as the Red Army advanced into Poland and neared Auschwitz. Grese was one of the first captives. She was then later temporarily imprisoned 3 kilometers from Belsen. At this time, she was interviewed by an English journalist. He asked her why she had committed the crimes, and she unashamedly replied, "It was our duty to exterminate anti-social elements so the Germans' future would be assured." She retained her calm, unrepentant attitude throughout the trial. Even when films and pictures were shown of the decomposing corpse, Grese remained impassive and seemed unaffected by them emotionally. On November 17, 1945, Grese, together with 2 other Aufscherins, were found guilty and sentenced to death by hanging. The night before their executions, the unrepentant Grese and the other women sung long into the night. The next morning, December 13, 1945, Grese was hanged, but not before she shouted, "Schnell," meaning she wanted to die quickly. The executioner did his duty, thus ending the life of possibly the worst murderer of the 20th century. At only 22 years of age, She was the youngest Nazi war criminal hanged, and also the youngest person ever hanged by the British during the 20th century.